Hey, what is up everybody? We're here today for a quick recap of our round 1 matches for the Sun and Moon OU Tour in the Renny Tours server. Make sure to go check out that server if you're interested in joining pretty much weekly tours. There's new ones all the time popping up, all different formats. Make sure to go check it out, it's fun. And yeah, I'm in this Sun Moon OU Tour, which is very standard. It's basically like a basic Smogon tour. So we're here, this was our, well, game 1 because it's best out of 3. So this is our game 1. I'm just going to kind of let it play. I'm going to put it on normal. So he just has, I wanted to scout the Greninja set. I figured it's either Choice Scarf or Ash Greninja. So I'm like, I don't know what it's going to be. So I just kind of let him Ice Beam me there. I'm AV, so I knew I could take it. I knock off the Salic Berry of all things. Interesting. So he swaps out, goes into the Gallade. I just Giga Drained there. Yeah, just straight up Giga Drained. I figured he might want to go for more chip, go for the Ice Beam, get me down to like a third health. But no, he makes the play, goes into Gallade. So I just make my play. I got into the Pex because I'm like, he's not going to Zen Headbutt, I doubt. He's probably just going to go for CC, but he actually bulk upped here. So I'm like, wow, this is a threat because he's just going to Zen me this turn. So he actually has Earthquake, so I managed to survive, and I get hit with that eject button, allowing me to go out into Dugtrio, and I just substitute here, and luckily he goes for the close combat. Now the only reason I was subbing here was to see what types of move he was going for, but he was going for close combat, so I'm like, okay, I'm just going to stall this out a little bit. Now that he's going for close combat, his defense will lower, so he goes forward again, lowers his defense, and at this point I can just click Earthquake and kill the Gallade. Interesting set, running Earthquake on Gallade. I don't know if I quite think it's that good, but I guess it beats things like Magearna, so that's actually kind of interesting. Out comes Greninja. Yeah, I do swap here. I go into Pex because I knew I could take an Ice Beam, and I could take a Dark Balls, and I could get that recovery here. But I actually just go for the Toxic Spike here, because I think I swap into Tangrowth. Yep, I do swap into Tangrowth. I didn't feel like going for Recover. I really like getting a layer of Toxic Spikes, even though you look at his team, he has 2 Steel types and a Flying type. So why the hell would I want that layer? Because Tyranitar is looking like a threat to my team. If it's Megatar DD, he sets up a DD. He can Ice Punch, Fire Punch. Lopunny is really my only check to it. So I let him Ice Beam me, and since he's not Protean, he's Ash Greninja. I go for the Giga Drain here, get rid of the Greninja. Now I figure, oh, of all things, Landorus comes in here. I figure he's just gonna U-turn here, or maybe he has his own HP Ice, but I figured he would just go for the U-turn. No way he goes for HP Ice when he's seen how much Ice Beam's doing. And I was right, he does U-turn out. Now the reason I made this swap is because nothing really 1v1s me, even this Tyranitar, but I think I'm scared of the Ice Punch, so I believe I U-turn here. No, I just hard swap, not knowing what kind of set he was. I go Celesteela. He has the Stone Edge, so I'm like, wow, that was an interesting swap for me. I'm a little spooked now, but he does double into the Magnezone, which is a good play on him, but I do go for the Leech Seed here. So I'm thinking Sandstorm is up. Let's burn these turns. So my theory was that he wouldn't be able to go into the Tyranitar. So he goes for the Gigavolt Havoc here. Just totally destroys me. And now the Sandstorm's going to run up, I believe. Yep, so now he's free to go back into T-Tar and get it up, but not before I trap him, get rid of the Magnezone. Now we're Groundium Z on this Dugtrio, so we can still take out the Tyranitar, one-shot it with Groundium Z if we need to. So I'll go into the Pex, he goes right for the Earthquake, knocks me out, that's okay. But I was sitting here and I'm like, wow, Landorus is actually a giant threat to this team since I lost Celesteela and I can't really Leech Seed, protect, stall him out. So I'm like, I gotta play around this carefully because my Tangrowth has HP Ice, but he would just U-turn on me and then I'd reveal it, it'd be a bad time. I don't actually have the Ice Punch on my Lopunny, but I figured it doesn't hurt to bluff it, so I just Mega Evolve and go for the Fake Out. He stays in, which is fair, stays in to take the Fake Out. Now he hard swaps into the Tyranitar, which was an interesting move. I just clicked return there, predicting him to stay in or swap into anything. And I'm like, I don't want a high jump kick and have the Lander stay in and survive. But I get some nice chip on the T-Tar. And it's actually red card Tyranitar. But it puts me out into Landorus, and of all things, this is probably the best, except maybe Dugtrio would have been good too, but they're actually, like, the only bad option was if I went into Tangrowth, so since I'm assuming it's completely random, it's okay. Either way, we would have been good here. It would have only a 1/3 chance we go Tangrowth. So here we just go for the Earthquake, I believe. Yep, he does land the Stone Edge. That doesn't obviously do a lot because he's not banded and he's intimidated. So down goes the T-Tar. Landorus T here, still looking like a threat. He does go out into it. I believe we have the HP Ice, so I think I just go for it here to get some chip. He has Stone Edge. I Toxic it. We don't have the HP Ice, my bad. It's a Toxic, Protect, Earthquake, Stealth Rock set. So I Toxic the Landorus because I'm like, well, I really need this thing to die, and I really don't have a lot to destroy it with, so I can actually stall it out, if anything, with Protect on Dugtrio, Fake Out on Lopunny, Tangrowth for Sack Fodder. So I do swap here, thinking I'm going to save health for Excadrill. He goes for the Stone Edge here, and now I'm free to HP Ice on my Tangrowth, assuming he doesn't swap out. He does swap out, goes into the Excadrill, as I pretty much expected, still went for the HP Ice there. I'm assuming this thing would be Sand Rush, but now the Sandstorm goes away. He goes for the Swords Dance, which is kind of threatening, but we get an Earthquake off, and that does plenty. So I let him Earthquake me, and he's Life Orb, so down that goes. Now the Landorus comes back out. I believe I swap here to save my HP Ice. I do. So I swap here. I think I go Dugtrio, yep, to just kind of sack it, get more toxic damage racking up. And I believe here I go into Lopunny. Nope, I go my own Landorus, and I think I Protect. Yep, I Protect. He says GG because at this point he's on a timer, and I got too many Pokemon that can stall out this toxic damage. So he's going for that. He's going for Earthquake because I'm assuming he's locked into it because he had Stone Edge earlier, I think. Yeah, but I'm assuming he's Scarfed or Banded because he's just spamming Earthquake at this point. So I'm like, well, I guess if he's not gonna hit me for anything, I'll just stay in and Protect, Earthquake myself. It doesn't really matter. So this thing dies to Toxic, and I win game 1. Now, moving on to game 2. You're allowed to swap teams between matches. He brings an interesting team here. Rocking Volcanion, rocking Crocodile, and I do a double take real quick. I'm like, wow, Volcanion's a bit of a threat. Mantine's looking pretty juicy. It's my only real counter to that thing. Until I get it whittled down enough to die by a Psychic or something. But then he's got Crocodile, so I can't really Psychic for free. So this match, going into it, I'm like, the only thing that really looks powerful against this team is a Gallade. Because I have Swords Dance. So, close combat, knock off, close combat, close combat, close combat. That thing's dying at +2. So here we are. I lead Tapu Lele just because it looks amazing, and I figured he'd lead Lopunny. He does, and I just went for the Psychic, I believe. Oh, I went for the Moonblast, just being conservative because I'm like, the worst thing that could happen here is he stays in and kills me, and I didn't go for a move, and I predicted. So here I just make the swap into Tangrowth. I did lower his special attack, which is a little disappointing. Some random hacks there turn 1. But he goes for the Corkscrew Crash, which doesn't look like it would have done that much anyways. Now he goes Gengar here, and I went for the Earthquake. So I'm assuming he thought I was going to Giga Drain or something. I don't really know what that was, but it's okay because I have to swap out anyway. I go into the Mantine, he goes for the Sludge Wave, and crits me. So the hacks are starting to balance out here. Although I feel like that crit was actually more important than my special attack dropping. So I have to double here into Heatran, assuming, looking at the damage, even with the crit, I'm like, that is Specs damage if I've ever seen it. So he Specs, I'm assuming, and he makes the hard swap into Volcanion. I set up a sub here, yep. So here I'm free to Earth Power twice, seeing that I outspeed, and I drop his special defense, but he sets up a substitute of his own. Must have thought I had Magma Storm or something. So it doesn't actually matter that I drop his special defense because before it did 37.9. So even with the special defense, even without it, this Earth Power would have killed. But he goes hard Magnezone for some reason. Not sure why. Maybe just to sack it to get some momentum into something because he does go into Lopunny here. So I have to sack Mantine here basically, since this thing is at 0%. I believe I just stay in. Yup, I stay in. He goes for the Drain Punch, allowing me to roost up here. Must have thought that it would kill, but he goes for the turn now, and I get the Scald off, and I get the Burn off, which is interesting. It's a 30% chance. It's got to happen eventually. And to be fair, he put himself in that position. So even though it's like a little bit of hacks, like a 30% hacks or whatever, he still put himself in the position. He could have returned me. He wouldn't have been burned. But now I go in. He's at -2 now that I get the Intimidate off. This return's going to do literally nothing. Now I'm assuming he has to hack or to swap here, but I go for the Earthquake anyways. Or did I double? I double into Mantine. Why did I do that? I forget why I did that. Actually, I would have just clicked Earthquake there. I must have predicted something. That's interesting. I forget why I made that play, but anyway, I lose the Mantine, and it gives him the +1 attack boost, so I'm not actually sure why I did that, but I can go back and Intimidate, and I believe I U-turn here. Yep, I click U-turn here. That does over half. We get to go out into Tapu Lele here, and here we play a game that you guys know from my stream. If you've seen my stream before, it's called How Good is Tapu Lele, where you go into Tapu Lele and you click one move and you see just how many kills you can get with it. So that's 1 kill we get with Moonblast, and then comes Gengar. That's 2 kills we get with Moonblast. But the Curse Body comes out, and he gets to go out into Volcanion here. I go into Tangrowth, assuming that he would go for the Steam Eruption and not the Fire Blast, since I lost my Mantine, which was my Water Absorb, and I still had Flash Fire, so I'm like, there's no way he goes for Steam Eruption, or no way he goes for Fire Blast, but now he goes for the Fire Blast, but I get the Earthquake off. It lives on like 3, and he gets, or 4, and he gets the Salic Berry. Does miss the Fire Blast, though, which is a little bit of a shame, but I do kill off the Volcanion. I would have just sacked it and gone into literally anything. My plan was to go into Lele and click Psychic, but now I get to yeah, I do apologize for the random hacks this game, because the missing of the Fire Blast, once again, it's like he put himself in the position, but whatever. So he goes for the High Jump Kick. He has Drain Punch and High Jump Kick, but he's just trying to whittle me down a little bit. Now I'm looking, I'm like, this Clefable is a little bit of a threat, especially if it's CM. So I Earthquake here. He does set up a Cosmic Power, of all things. So he lives, but instead of Soft Boiling, he Dazzling Gleams, allowing me to go into Gallade and get rid of this thing with a Close Combat. Would have gone for Zen Headbutt, but I didn't want it to miss. So there we go. We won in 2 games, best out of 3. So we won round 1. Hopefully eventually here we'll be playing our next opponent, but that means we move on to round 2. So make sure to keep your eye out for round 2 of the Sun Moon Renny Tours. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Like I said, check out Renny Tours. The invite should be in the description down below. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video.